Hello there. This is my first time posting, and this is more about me questioning how I should be handling a situation rather than an outright debate about who is in the wrong. I feel like I've been treated poorly, but not sure if my way of handling things is making it worse. I, 31F, have my best friend, 25F, and we've been close for 7 years. In reality, she's the only real friend I've ever had, as most friendships from childhood were either incredibly one-sided, where they were bullies but I didn't understand that, or they were incredibly toxic, in which I was constantly self-sacrificing for their benefit and getting nothing in return. This ended up resulting in me feeling rather lonely. I was also bullied by another girl whom was the queen bee in our youth group at church, so I never got close to anyone my age cause Queen Bee had everyone under her thumb, and the youth leader wasn't any help. He even participated in the bullying, so I didn't have any friends in my church either. Years later, and we've all grown up, and while most of the group has matured, even Queen Bee, I always felt stuck in their perceptions of me from back then. I was still friendly but never formed any real connection even after all these years later. Enter Belle, not real name, whom I've always known of in my church, but we never really spoke to each other. She never participated in the bullying, but just one of the group that I didn't really talk to. So you can imagine my surprise when she just approached me years later. I had just graduated college, and she was excitedly talking about a trip to Europe she was going on. This was the first time we ever talked, and I was kind of a stuttering mess. I was baffled that someone was talking to me, and I was terrified of messing things up, so I kind of stumbled my way through the conversation, which eventually led me to say that the trip looked like fun and I wish I could go. I only meant it as a hypothetical, but she immediately lit up and was showing me the tour website and price, which since the trip was in a couple years the monthly payment was around $100, which was feasible. Next thing I knew, I was meeting with her to talk about plans, and I went on this trip with someone I barely knew. We ended up hitting it off and becoming good friends over that time. Ever since we were inseparable, I was often either at her house, and she had been what I've always dreamed a friend would be. She was the first person I ever told I was autistic when I learned that about myself as an adult. I opened up to her about the bullying I went through at church, and she told me that she wished people took the time to actually know me because she considered me her best friend too. We talked about mental health a lot, and she didn't seem annoyed by my hyperfixations, and she often encouraged me whenever I struggled with anxiety or sensory issues. But that all changed, or at least I've been more aware of things that shouldn't have been happening thanks to therapy. Little things at first, like how she established this rule that if she or I ever needed space that we would have a code word which meant, hey, I want to be alone, and I thought it was a great idea because it helped navigate potential social cues I might miss out on. Another thing was when we went on trips that we promised we wouldn't get offended if someone wanted to go off on their own somewhere since we have different interests and don't have to do everything together. That made enough sense. But then she started to, get bolder with grievances, I guess. For example, we started a book club with some other people and it was my pick for what we would read, and I told Belle that I was nervous because I was worried that if they didn't like the book I felt like it would be my fault, because I wasted their time, and I often had this feeling whenever sharing something I liked because I unknowingly would get hyper-focused and excited only to feel blindsided when people called me annoying. She assured me the obvious, that if they didn't like the book that doesn't equate to them not liking me as a person, and that made me feel better. And I got used to being okay if someone didn't like the book I picked. But during the actual book club I felt squeamish because turns out none of them liked the book. I tried to manage my anxiety about it by playfully going, oh no, and laughing it off, but then Belle cut in and said bluntly, yes, she has this dumb thing where if you don't like the book you don't like her. She was with me in my apartment that day during the Zoom call, spending the weekend with me. Looking at me as she was saying this on the Zoom call with the other book club members, I was immediately embarrassed and spiraled into fast talking about it was something I've been dealing with since I was a kid, and I'm working on it in therapy, and I know it's not true, so don't hide your real feelings for my sake. I was a stuttering mess. After the call she apologized and played it as if she was making a joke, but after explaining that she didn't have the place to announce my anxiety issues like that, she apologized and we moved on. There was another time when we and a group of ladies were going to see a show at a regional theater, and during dinner at a restaurant before the show someone asked Belle if she had heard of this musical we were going to see. She proceeded to say no but didn't want to say anything because she didn't want to get bombarded with recommendations before turning her head, scrunching up her face, and then gesturing her fork and hand directly at me. I was taken aback. Before I often recommended things I enjoyed, but she never indicated that it was a problem before. I learned later that I was pebbling, which for autism is if I like something I'd text it to her and recommend it, and ended up sending her multiple texts about all the things I wanted her to watch or read. Simply because it made me happy and I wanted her to be happy too. I never realized that would be considered annoying, but I was embarrassed that she brought it up this way in front of the group. I stopped sharing or recommending things after that. But even then I didn't really put much thought into her behavior. She was my best friend. Friends can be annoying and I understand that, so I thought she was just expressing herself. And even though I was embarrassed, I was glad to be made aware of how I was coming across. So no harm done, right? Well, it was after that I started to notice more things. Like the time where we met up for a day of shopping and I was excitedly talking about something I was listening to and sharing deeper aspects of it when she interrupted me saying, "I'm not in the mood for philosophical my name today." That was the first thing she said to me when meeting up with her that day. Or the time when we were with our mothers on a dual mom/daughter weekend trip, where she was sharing a dream wedding song in the car and was asking for our comments. It was a nice song, and after we shared our thoughts, my mom wanted me to share my choice after that. Belle got really quiet and practically shoved her phone in my hand. I didn't think much at the time, I was just excited to play a song next. Well, I accidentally played a different song than what my mom was thinking, so after it was over she asked me about it. I played Don't Think Twice by Utada Hikaru, and my mom was thinking of Not Alone by Darren Criss. I laughed at my mistake and asked to play that one too, and Belle was very silent and didn't say anything. I played the song and her mom commented on it, but Belle didn't say anything. My mom asked me where the second song I had was from, and I excitedly mentioned that it was from Starkid's A Harry Potter musical, and I knew Belle was on the 7th book, so I figured she'd enjoy the musical and recommended it. Keep in mind I avoided recommending things to her for almost a year by this point, but I figured she'd actually enjoy this because she was reading the books for the first time. But she gave me a side eye and said in the most deadpan voice, "We'll see," and got out of the car and walked ahead of us to the hotel. When we got out of the van, she asked us about our thoughts on her song again. We commented again that her song was very pretty, but she seemed annoyed with me. I was confused. I thought we were all sharing, and my mom was confused about it too. Sometimes if she wanted to ask me about something, she'll start it off with, "I know this will be a rabbit hole, but," or other things that seem like a joke but feels more like a passive-aggressive way to air a grievance, and it just didn't feel good. The most recent incident was when I asked Belle if she wanted to see Wicked with me. I've already seen it 4 times, it's so good, guys. And I know she has already seen it once with her mom. I asked my mom if Belle told her mom if she liked the movie because I was afraid of feeling rejected, so Mom helped me think of a text so it wouldn't feel bad if she said no. She texted back that she'd love to see it again, so I thought everything would be alright. Now I easily get absorbed in the things I enjoy. Wicked was my first musical, and for personal reasons it holds a lot of emotional weight for me. If you've seen the movie, you know about the Ostis ballroom scene. I've had similar real-life experiences to that scene, so it hit home for me every time I've seen the film. I've already seen it with another friend. Let's call her Megan, not real name, and we were both emotional throughout the movie and geeking out about all the details. The cameos in One Short Day had us so hyped. And after the film we took pictures and sang the songs on our way out, and was generally happy talking about all the moments where the movie hit us in the feels. Megan is someone I don't know well, but I had an amazing time with her. But when I saw the movie again with Belle, the vibes were different. I was quietly emotional during the Ostis scene again, and Belle kept giving me the side eye and shoved a napkin in my hand. During One Short Day I was bopping my head to the song and excitedly pointed out the cameos, to which Belle just said, "I'm happy for you." For you? Didn't she enjoy this too? She kept her eyes on the film, but I kept feeling like I was being observed. After the movie I commented on the cameos again, and she just said deadpan again, "I'm happy for you that happened." There's the "for you" comment again. She didn't really engage with any discussion about the movie afterwards. Just kinda walked straight out of the movie, and while Megan hugged me and told me how much fun this was the last time I went, Belle just walked towards her car and said, "If you need me, you know where to find me," leaving me at the parking lot. Didn't even look at me. Just kinda left as soon as we got to the door without any goodbye or anything. I couldn't help but just feel how different things were when I saw the movie with Megan compared to Belle, and that made me rethink of all the other things Belle has said or done over the years. And while I feel like hindsight is 20/20, I cannot help but feel like a jerk for suddenly becoming aware of these things. Like it didn't bother me before, or at least not very much, but now I feel like I can't even mention this because it never bothered me before. She would most likely take it as if I held back my real emotions all this time or something, but really it's only because of therapy that I've even noticed how she's been treating me lately. Even more so when I saw the movie with Megan and noticed how I felt so much more comfortable being my unmasked myself around her than I had with Belle in a long time. But that feels like a betrayal. I don't want to drop this friend entirely, because Belle has been genuinely one of the kindest people I've known. It's only in more recent years that she has started to treat me differently. My therapist says this is a good opportunity to meet other people because we shouldn't have just one friend anyway. She also mentioned that me relying on Belle as my only friend might have sparked some resentment over time because there's a lot of pressure in that. She knows about my time being a lonely person growing up, so maybe she felt obligated to put up with me without bringing up any of my faults over the years? This is giving her a massive benefit of the doubt, because even if she did have genuine issues with me, my therapist says she still could have been better about voicing them. At the very least, she shouldn't have put me on the spot about my anxieties in front of other people. I feel like Belle probably would appreciate some space as I explore other friendships, but I still feel bad about everything. If I'm annoying, she should be free to tell me so, right? So it feels like I'm being a jerk for wanting to distance myself. So what do you think? AITA for wanting to distance myself from my best friend.